Good morning, and thank you for the introduction. I am honored to have the opportunity to kick off the Joint FDA, MHRA, Health Canada, Good Clinical Practice and Pharmacovigilance Compliance Symposium. I am sorry that I'm unable to join you in person in Maryland due to a last-minute schedule change. This event represents an exceptional opportunity to hear directly from regulators, and not just the US FDA. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our colleagues from the UK's MHRA, as well as our partners from Health Canada. We all appreciate you making the trip to join us here for this fantastic event. Starting in 2018, our agencies have made it a priority to develop and host a joint symposium every 2 years in an effort to share critical insights in good clinical and pharmacovigilance practices. This serves as an important touchpoint and reflects the tremendous impact global regulators have in helping to lead the next evolution of clinical research design and conduct, as well as both pre-market and post-market pharmacovigilance and safety reporting. In addition, our joint symposium represents a fantastic opportunity for transparency. It allows us to discuss strategies for sharing information between our agencies in a truly global medical product development environment. The symposium also gives us the opportunity to share best practices for GCP, bioequivalence, and pharmacovigilance inspections, as well as remote assessment activities. We have a packed agenda for our next 3 days. My hope is that you find this symposium to be valuable in that the information is useful and the collaboration as partners across FDA, MHRA, and Health Canada helps to advance our shared public health mission globally. Before I get too far into my opening remarks, I want to acknowledge the fantastic FDA staff who have made this event possible. Please join me in sharing a message of gratitude to the professionals from the CDER Small Business and Industry Assistance Group, as well as our many speakers and moderators from the Office of Scientific Investigations within the CDER Office of Compliance, the Office of Study Integrity and Surveillance within the CDER Office of Translational Science, CDER's Office of Medical Policy, and our colleagues in the Office of Regulatory Affairs, Office of Bioresearch Monitoring Operations. Finally, of course, thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today. I appreciate your interest in advancing our shared goals, promoting efficiency and effectiveness in GCP, bioequivalence, and good pharmacovigilance practice in support of our public health mission. The focus of this year's symposium is global clinical trials in good clinical practice, bioequivalence, and pharmacovigilance in the post-pandemic world. We can, once again, convene face-to-face as we're doing today. But notably, the symposium is also being offered virtually, a reflection of the fact that we cannot just return to our pre-pandemic way of doing things. This will be a continuing theme throughout the symposium's presentations. To start, a number of GCP presentations will describe efforts to advance novel clinical trial designs, operational approaches, and data sources. Although many of these were already in development prior to the pandemic, adoption of them spiked when pandemic circumstances required, and some have regressed since the pandemic ended. In a post-pandemic world, we need to harness the lessons learned during the pandemic about innovative ways to design and conduct clinical trials to meet modern aims of increasing diversity and trial quality while maintaining the highest standards for participant safety and data integrity. This must involve evaluating the barriers to innovation that have caused some of the regressions in the use of innovative approaches since the end of the pandemic. It also means looking closely at which innovations make a meaningful difference in clinical trial diversity, participant experience, and outcomes. Presenters during the GCP portion of the symposium will discuss considerations that are unique to various innovative approaches. GCP principles are essential regardless of study design or approach, and how to apply those principles to innovative clinical trials merits careful consideration. This includes, for instance, data accountability for data derived from digital health technologies, as well as appropriate supervision of third-party service providers performing clinical trial activities. A consistent message you will hear across these presentations is the need for risk-proportionate approaches that focus on clinical trial processes and data that are most important to participant safety and data integrity. Let me take this opportunity to publicize one way that CDER is working to help advance clinical trial innovation. Last year, we opened a public docket to gather information from stakeholders on the barriers and facilitators to incorporating innovative clinical trial approaches in drug development programs. We're working in partnership with the Duke Margolis Center for Health Policy to host a public workshop on this topic on March 19 and 20, 2024. Responses to the public docket will help inform the public workshop, and in turn, comments and feedback from the workshop will help inform CDER's future work related to clinical trial innovation. While CDER and FDA work to support innovation by industry, innovation must also come from regulatory agencies. You will hear presentations during the symposium describing regulators' approaches to GCP inspections. Many of these novel approaches were first adopted during the pandemic and continue to be used to enhance oversight of clinical trials. You will also hear about some of the ways that regulators are assessing innovative clinical trial design features. As I noted earlier, convening this joint symposium every 2 years is a great way for regulators to share information about their agency's approaches to these topics, including best practices and lessons learned. It is also an opportunity to share information about collaborative efforts among agencies. Along these lines, you will hear from panelists about updates to ICH-E6 guideline on good clinical practice, including data governance. During the third day of the symposium, we will switch gears from GCP to bioequivalence and pharmacovigilance. The bioequivalence presentations will begin with discussing a remote approach to reviewing the conduct of bioequivalence studies. CDER's Office of Study Integrity and Surveillance has been a leader at FDA in using remote assessments to support regulatory decision-making. We will hear about their experience as well as those of their counterparts at MHRA. The bioequivalence presenters will also talk about their findings from bioequivalence inspections and remote regulatory assessments, and will discuss the clinical portion of bioequivalence studies. Because so many medicines are based on approvals supported by bioequivalence studies, the quality of these studies, both clinical and analytical, is crucial. The discussion of the findings provides insights on how we, as regulators, can focus our efforts to support industry. Finally, the symposium will close with presentations on pharmacovigilance compliance. As with the GCP and bioequivalence presentations, we will hear about use of remote assessments to evaluate pharmacovigilance compliance. We will also hear about emerging technologies and related advances in pharmacovigilance. The vast amount of safety information available about marketed drugs requires industry and regulators to think about new ways to process, evaluate, and act on the available information to help protect the public health. And because drug marketing, like drug development, is a global enterprise, we will hear from panelists about efforts among regulators to collaborate through joint inspections and by sharing information, including related to pharmacovigilance activities. Lastly, we will hear important updates on pharmacovigilance topics of interest from regulators. The next 3 days are clearly filled with a wealth of important information and illuminating discussions about how, as regulators, we can support and advance innovation in global drug development and pharmacovigilance, and in our approaches to oversight and innovation. The need for innovation is imperative to keep pace with changes in the drug development landscape. In collecting and disseminating safety information, deploying new technology tools and platforms, and recognizing the essential role clinical trial participants play in medical product development. The symposium is a timely and valuable contribution to meeting this challenge. We are excited that you're able to join us today. We hope you enjoy this time, and we look forward to the discussion.